Hey everyone, welcome to this video about structured responses using springai. We interact with AI on a regular basis now, and most of the responses that we get are plain string responses. What if there was a way to make LLM response more structured so that it can become more actionable? Springai provides us a way to get this done. Let me give you an example of how a structured response looks as compared to a traditional response. For this given query, tell me about the movie Inception. Give me its title, director, release year and main actors. Let me show you how the normal response looks if I send this particular query to any given large language model. This is how a normal response looks. This is a plain string. It gives you the required details. But can your application use it? It's just a plain string. Suppose you have to feed this data to an external API call. It cannot use the plain string. Now let's see how does the structured response looks. This is the structured response. This is not just a simple string. This is a Java Pojo which has been converted to JSON. It has title, director, release year, all in a structured format. If I send this Java Pojo to any upstream, it will be able to figure out what is the title, what is the director by just using the getters or setters. Let's quickly understand the workflow. How does it happen? When we provide the raw input to large language model, we can also provide some additional information, like in which format we want to receive the response. Both the things, the input and the format information, gets passed on to the large language model. Large language model has the plain response at this particular stage. Now, using the raw response and the format in instructions that we have given, it converts the plain output to a structured output in the format that we desire. Doing all of this is actually pretty easy. Now let's write some code. Also, if you like the video, please do share and subscribe to the channel. Let's create a project. I'll call this project as springai structured response. I'll choose Maven and Java 21. Whatever code I will write, I'm going to share the complete repo in the description box. For my large language model provider, I'm going to be choosing Ollama. You are free to choose any other large language model provider which springai supports. Okay, now that the project is created, let's quickly go and create some configurations. I will need to configure my Ollama. I will give the host and port where my Ollama is running and the corresponding large language model that I'm going to be using. For this example, I'm going to be using Llama 3.2. Again, if you use any other large language model provider, you will have to provide those corresponding properties in the application properties file. So these are two lines that I'm writing for enabling Ollama. And I will just enable Spring debug logging for springai. I'll set this as debug mode. And we are set. Now let's go and create a controller. Let me create a package for creating controller. I'll make the class as basic controller. Now I'll just have to make it as a REST controller so that I will be able to invoke them via get endpoint. Now there are some pretty straightforward things that I will have to do, like wiring in the chat client. And this is something that we have been doing for almost all the springai videos. I'll have to use chat client builder, and chat client builder is going to give me the actual chat client. Let me replace this argument to builder, and I will use the builder to create a chat client for me. And I'm going to be setting some default prompt, like I want the LLM to give me a short and concise answer. And my system prompt is set. There's a typo that I'll be fixing it later. And build. Now at this point my chat client is ready, and to invoke it I'll be using get mapping, so that I should be able to show you when the request reaches to this controller and what response I am sending out. So I'll create a get mapping for normal response, and obviously normal response is going to return a string for me. Let's call this as get movie text. And this is pretty straightforward. I'll add a request param for query, and I'll create prompt template. Using the prompt template, I'll be creating a prompt. That prompt I'll be sending into large language model. Okay, my prompt is also ready. Now let's invoke the large language model. I'll send the prompt to the chat client and I will get a response back. Now take a closer look. What is going to be my response? I'm invoking call.content. .content is always going to give me a string. Let's run this. Let me start the server. Now that my server is up, I'm going to place a request to this endpoint, and obviously I'm expecting a standard string response. I'm sending a query, tell me about the movie Inception, give me its title, director, release year and main actors. And here I have the response. It's a pretty straightforward and standard string response. The values are right, but it's a single string value. Now let me show you how to get the structured response. First, I am going to create a model class for me, which is going to hold the response object. For this, I will create a record, movie response. You can very well go ahead and create a standard POJO for you also. This record is going to contain title, director, release year and list of string, which is going to hold main actors of the movie. And I want that the large language model should populate this movie response record for me. So I will change the endpoint from structured response. This entire code I have copied from normal response only. Prompt template and prompt, they remain same. I'll just have to change the type from string to a movie response object, because now I want to accept movie response. And now I will not call content. Instead, I will call the entity method and I will pass the class which I want the large language model to populate the response in. I will change the return type from string to movie response. And now let's start the server. My expectation is now it should give me the movie response object and not a standard string. Let's place a GET request. Now I'm going to place a request to structured response API and see the response body. It's not a string, it's a JSON object. First, it converted to movie response record, and on the UI it is being shown as a JSON. So you can see everything, title, director, releaser, main actors, they got converted to respective types. And this is really important. Let's say you are invoking this API from a different application. That application can now start consuming these values by using simple getters. The same code can work when you are creating MCP client also. There's no need to change anything, just change from .content to .entity and you will get the response in the format that you want. Thanks for watching this video. You can also check out the other videos from this channel.